Great to have two of the stars here with us, Jesse Edwards and Joe Girard on set right now. You guys are starting your morning off with us. We appreciate it early and Adam this morning. Joe, for you first, what do you take away from last year and the way things ended and not being able to finish off the year like you wanted and I'm sure expected?
Yeah, I mean, last year was definitely disappointing. I mean, especially coming off a year where, the year before we went to the Sweet 16, we felt we had a lot of great pieces who were coming back, and we also had a lot of guys who were coming into the transfer portal who we thought were, really experienced and could help us a lot. And, it's annoying to say, but we think we were the best 16 and 17 team in the country. We lost 4 or 5 games by a combined, 6-7 points. And, it was just one of the 2 plays each game where we felt we needed to make that we didn't make, and it was unfortunate. But this year there's a whole new energy coming into this year. The whole freshman group who's coming in is really good. Obviously, we got returning players, me, Jesse, Benny, and Samir, who will mix well with them, and it's just going to leave a lot of revenge, hopefully coming into this year.
And Jesse, I'm sure it was hard for you for different reasons, battling through that wrist injury and not being able to be involved.
Yeah, exactly. The wrist injury was really tough, especially because the team was just rolling at a really good level and all together. But like Joe said, we battled to the end, and it was just really tough to see. We had a couple chances against Duke even at the end, even with Buddy out. But like you said, this year I feel like all the guys got the energy to really come back and make it a good one.
And you feel good. I heard you just tell Luke, which is a big deal.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm all back. It was just the end of the season recovery, and now we've been practicing. We're going at it. Yeah, all back.
So been playing all summer, right? The national team. How was that experience?
Yes, sir.
How'd that help you develop?
That was really great, just to be able to play at it was kind of like the next level of guys. They were all older guys, pros from obviously all over the countries in Europe. It was really an amazing experience just to be there, be around them, learn from them, hopefully bring some back to help Syracuse throughout this season.
I imagine you didn't play zone the entire time.
We did not. It was a new experience.
Do you guys ever get to coach and say, hey, maybe we should switch to man-to-man, or you just let him make those calls?
No, we just kind of let him. He's been there for 47 years, and he knows what he's doing. So we trust him with whatever he's doing, and whatever he tells us to play that game, we're going to play.
Joe, we were just talking about you averaged 50 in high school, which is insane. I don't ever think I even hit 50 in my high school career. But talking about that, last year in the ACC tournament against Duke, you moved over to the 2-guard. Yeah. Do you see yourself doing that this year, and is that a new challenge that you would like so that you can focus more on the scoring part rather than, point guard comes with a lot of leadership.
For sure. And, especially in the Syracuse offense, a lot of the offense runs through the wings, the 2 and the 3 guard. With the guys we have coming in, like I said, with that freshman class, a lot of them are really explosive, have played point guard for most of their lives, and it's going to allow them, kind of to dominate the ball handling, responsibilities, get in the lane, make plays for not only myself but Jesse, throwing lobs and stuff. So it's going to allow me to move off the ball, kind of just focus on scoring rather than setting other guys up. And it should be a pretty fun year, with all, like I said, the freshmen and the other guys who are going to be able to, handle those responsibilities.
Yep.
Tell us about some of those freshmen, probably Judah in particular. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, all of them are really good. Obviously, Judah's, he lives up to the hype, that's for sure. We've seen it in practice and in open runs that we've played. He's everything that everybody talks about. He's really explosive, a really smart player, and he loves to compete. And I think all of them do, honestly. I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed is, sometimes when you got a lot of freshmen coming in, they could have egos and all that, but, all these guys came in and worked hard right away. They all are competing, which is the best part of practice. It's going to make us better on the court in games. And, all of them have stepped right in and, are competing for jobs, honestly.
Jesse, who else have you really had your eye on?
Like Joe said, all of them competing, that's the most important. For example, Malik, Peter, just for me, for example, going to the rebounds, going to the boards is one of the most important things, and they've been doing that every practice, and that's going to be big throughout the season. Like I say, Justin, and pretty much all of them, they've been really doing a good job.
What do you guys wish that you knew as a freshman that you know now? Is there anything that you would tell them?
As a freshman, it's listen to coach. That's all I gotta say. But that's really important, obviously, because he knows exactly what it is you have to do to help the team and to help yourself at that point. And you can build off of that, I would say. But there's a bunch of things I wish I know, man.
I mean, I would try to tell them it's honestly like a job. You know, you're going from so there's times you're leaving your apartment at 7 in the morning, you're not getting back till 7 at night. And I didn't go to prep school. Like we said, I averaged 50 at a public school, but I didn't go to prep school. And a lot of these guys did, which I think was probably, there's different ways to get to where you want to go, but it's probably good for a lot of kids just because it prepares you for a college, a day in the life of college. But even so, it's a lot more in college. You're going to workouts, meetings, film sessions, lifts, practice, and classes every single day. And you have to realize that you can't take a day off at practice just because you're not feeling up to your energy level that you need. So every single day is a job, and you kind of have to realize that and live it.
You guys were top 20 on the offensive end. You might have been bottom 20 on the defensive end. I think we played a different zone than you guys play, but that center position is so important in anchoring that defense. What's the toughest part about playing that spot, and how much ground you really have to cover?
Yeah, I'd say since like the last 10, 20 years when the three-pointers become so important, like it used to be the zone was crammed in and it was everybody inside the three-point line.
Right.
So it was kind of easier almost for the center. But now everybody's spread out and there's probably shooters on every wing and every corner. So you just got to make sure everybody's in the right position. These guys have a tough job to do. So you got to make sure they know where their screens are at, know where the offense
That's you,
is at.
though. You're shouting that out. You have the
Exactly.
vantage point in the back of that zone to be able to tell everybody where.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's my main job, is just to make sure everybody has a idea what's going on behind them, because they can't see that. So yeah, that's my main job, and then getting out to the corners, getting up to the free throw line.
I know you guys haven't had a ton of practice yet, but has the priority in practice been on the defensive side early on?
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean usually in the summers we just do like workouts because you're only allowed the certain NCAA hours. But during those hours this year, we actually did mini practices kind of sometimes. I think it was to help the freshmen kind of get adjusted right away. But also it was just to focus on our defense. We have, like I said, we have a more athletic group this year, and the guys who are on the team now are able to play a more relentless style of defense, so it's going to be good for us, and I think it's definitely been a key emphasis from the coaches for sure.
Not just dunk contests and free
No, that's the fun part.
Those are the good ones,
They don't show the not fun part.
Yeah, Jesse, you said that you're like the quarterback back there in the 2-3 zone. Last year you had a little trouble with staying on the court with foul trouble.
Oh yeah.
So with, like you said, y'all have more athletic guys who can kind of put pressure on the other team and push them out to where not so much pressure is on you. But how have you worked this summer to kind of just stay out of foul trouble and just have that importance that that you need to be on the court for your team?
Yes, sir. I thought you were going to ask me about the dunk contest. That's not my department, right? Yeah. That would be one two-handed dunk, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm not a dunker, so I don't know anything about that.
I got you. This year, we've been working in practice. That's been a personal thing for me, just to, obviously pull back on the fouls, because that's going to have to be something to keep me on the court in the first place. So yeah, we've been working personally on that, just looking at tapes. Where do I make the fouls? Is it the silly fouls? Yeah. Because you have to cut those out at first, and then when there's somebody driving through and they're going to have an easy bucket, it might be worth it to grab those. Yeah. And then main it's just the little things like that, and that's mostly, I'd say, on tape, and then putting that into practice.
Joe, you mentioned what it's like to have somebody like Coach Boeheim, who's been around as long as he has and has coached for as long as he has. And I know he was disappointed with last year too. What have you guys seen from him this offseason? Joe, you first. Has anything been different?
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, he's always a competitive guy, and I think that was one of the main reasons a lot of kids like to go to Syracuse, because Coach Boeheim's so competitive. He likes to win so much, and you could definitely tell that he was more, not that he wasn't involved before, but he's more into it. He's a guy, like I said, he's really competitive. He doesn't like the way things ended last year, things went last year. So he's trying to prove another point, because everybody's always talking about, when it's his time to go for Coach Boeheim. So it's good for him, because it gives him that competitive side to him to want to go out there and prove everybody wrong that he can still do this. We know he can still do it. Everybody knows that. And he wouldn't be here that long if he couldn't. So you could tell he's got that little edge to him, which is a lot of fun to, witness and practice, and to be able to be coached by him. It's a lot of fun to see.
Joe, you've already scored 1,000 points in your college career. This season, you don't have to share with the Boeheims. It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
You get all the jump shots?
Yeah.
Where's the ceiling for you for this season? I know you talked about playing a little two-guard spot. I'm sure you're going to have to play some at the point.
Right.
But where's the ceiling for you? What's your expectation this year?
You know, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to win, honestly. You know, whether that's scoring 15 and 20 points or, you know, dishing out 4 or 5 assists, whatever it has to be. You know, I'm just trying to win. I think that's the main goal for everybody on this team, especially like we said with the year we had last year. It doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth, and you know, you want to bounce back. You want to show everybody that you can do it. You know, there's going to be a lot of doubters just because of the way we ended last year, and the inexperience that we have. But we're really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a fun year for sure.
You taking all these guys that are in the backcourt with you, these young guys, transfers, you take them under your wing. What's kind of your early voice that you want to give those guys, or things you want to tell them to bring them along?
The biggest thing is just listen and learn, you know, because every day, you know, before practice we have to work out for about an hour, and we're doing that with GMAC, who's been through it all. He's won a national championship. He's another competitive guy, and he's grown my game. You saw what he did with Buddy's game, and he's done that with, you know, everybody since he's been here. So the biggest thing for them is just listen to the guys, the coaches, what they're telling you, the guys who have been there, and you know, the coaches kind of rely on us players too. You know, the guys who have been there to show them the way, and not only just tell them, but to kind of show them. You know, you can't just tell somebody to do something and not do it yourself. So I think that's the biggest thing I've tried to do is tell them something when they need a little bit of help, but then also show them that, you know, I do the same the proper way as well.
Yeah, 30-minute workouts every day before practice.
30 to an hour, yeah.
Wow.
As an individual, just skill work.
Yep, skill work with your position coach. So the guards will go with GMAC, the forwards will go with Coach Red, and the centers will go with Coach Griff.
That's great.
Yep.
Remember he said that, what he would tell the freshmen, that professional mindset. You get in 30 minutes early, get that work in, and then you're going to get more work in. Guys, we can't wait to see what you're able to do this season. It all starts November 7th at home against Lehigh. We appreciate the time. Have fun today.
Thank you.
Have a good
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank y'all.